What's going on, people? Today we're going to be talking about the coordinate system. So we're going to be talking about them X and Y lines. So that's why I got this song right here by the Man in Black running in the background. So we'll check that song out a little bit later. But let's talk a little bit about those lines that are crossing and some things that happen in the coordinate system. Are you ready? Have you had a good weekend? I hope you have. Hope you're able to get out and do something you enjoyed. So let's start talking a little bit about the coordinate system, okay? So if you've got graph paper like I've got here, you are in good shape. If you don't, you can still do it. It may just be a little bit harder for you, but you know, definitely preferred if you got graph paper. So make sure you got your graph paper right here, and let's talk a little bit. So we've got these two different lines here that run. Of course, this one runs east and west. This one runs north and south. You can say, of course, this one's horizontal. This one's vertical. So which one is the one that runs east and west? Well, that one would be the x-axis. Okay. And the one that runs vertical or north and south, that, of course, would be the y-axis. Now, the question is, do you know what that point is right there in the middle where the x-axis and y-axis cross? That actually has a name as well. Anybody know? That is the origin. And the origin, of course, is at 0, 0. So it all starts there, okay? Just like the day you were born, that was your start. Everything here starts at the origin. And then it'll go on the x-axis first, and then up or down on the y-axis. So x before y, just like you do in the alphabet, okay? X comes before y, so x will always come before the y. All right, so we know this one's the x-axis, this one's the y-axis. Let's talk a little bit about the quadrants, okay? So there are 4 quadrants here you can see, okay? And sometimes you'll see where they use, and I'll put this thing up here in a second, where they use Roman numerals. I'm not going to have y'all do that because when I have you type in the answers later, I don't want you to type them in like Roman numerals. So we're just going to say this is quadrant 1, this one's quadrant 2, this one is quadrant 3, this one's quadrant 4. So it kind of runs like a C, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and if you want to go by the, you know, positive, negative kind of stuff, so this one is the positive quadrant. Quadrant 1 is positive. Quadrant 2 is the negative positive quadrant. Quadrant 3 is the negative quadrant. And then quadrant 4, of course, would be the positive negative quadrant. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Go that way. Use regular old plain numbers. Don't put in the, now, you know, that's what I'm talking about on some of these things. It kind of shows it like this, where it's got them in Roman numerals. Don't worry about doing that, okay? Just do them regular old numbers. All right, so we're just going to talk today a little bit about graphing some stuff and making sure we can read them. So let's just practice graphing a couple of them. I'm going to put a couple of them down here. And let's say we're going to do point A, B, C, and D to start with. All right, so we're going to do A, B, C, and D. So point A, we're going to do it 2, 6. B, we're going to do it -1, 4. C, we're going to do it 0, -5. And D, we're going to do it -4, -3. Okie dokie. All right, so let's walk that line. All right, so the first coordinate, of course, is the x coordinate. The second coordinate is the y coordinate. So you always want to go up here and start at the origin. Okay, start at the birthplace right here, the origin. So the first number is +2. So we're going to come over +2. And then the second number is also +6, so we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put us a little dot or a point right there, and put a little A beside of it. Okay. So that's positive. So we know we should be in the first quadrant. Okay. Positive should be in the first quadrant, and we went over right 2 on the X and up 6. All right. B is -1, 4. -1, 4. So negative. Positive is over here in the second quadrant. So we're going to come over -1 from the origin, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to put us a little b right there beside that point. That's -1 on the x, +4 on the y. Okay. Now we get down to C, and that is 0, -5. 0, -5. 0 means you don't go on the x-axis in either direction. Okay. That means stay there for the 0. Then -5 means we're going to come down 5 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there would be C. Now, the question is that in a quadrant? And your answer to that better be no, that is not in a quadrant. That is actually on the y-axis. Okay? That is on the y-axis. That is where it is located. And we're going to put those answers here in just 1 second. All right, and the last one we're going to do is, at the moment, is -4, -3 for D. So negative is this quadrant right here. So that means you're going to go left on the x-axis and down on the y. So let's go back again at the origin, start there. Go -1, 2, 3, quattro, and down -1, 2, trace. So left on the x, down on the y, put your little point right there, and that would be point D. Again, that would be in the third quadrant, okay? Third quadrant because it's the negative quadrant. All right, on your work, I'm also going to ask you to tell me where the quadrants are. So when you type this in, for A, it's in the first quadrant. So you're just going to type in 1. You don't have to type the word quadrant or anything else. Just type in 1, and that's it. For B, it's in the second quadrant, okay? So for that, you would just type in a 2. For C, now there's the one you got to do a little more work for, okay? C is not actually in the quadrant. It's on the y-axis. So you're actually going to type in y with the little dash axis. Make sure you spell it right, because if you don't spell it right, it'll count it wrong. Y-axis, axis. And then D is -4, -3, okay? -4, -3, which is in the third quadrant. So for that one, you just type in a little number 3. Okay? So there's that. Let's just do a couple more to make sure everybody's good. All right, so we'll come over here and we'll do E and F. All right, so for point E, we're going to go 2, 0. And for point F, we're going to do 3, -2. All right, so go ahead and put your points on there. Put the little letter with them. E, 2, 0, F, 3, -2. And then we'll talk about the quadrants. And I'm going to count to 10 right here for just a second. Give you a second to put them in there. All right, time's up. Ding! All right, so 2, 0. So that means, again, you go to the origin. The first number 2 is telling you to go to the right on the x-axis, and then 0 means you don't go up or down, okay? So at 2, 0, that means come over 2, and then you stay there. All right, and that would be letter or point E. All right, now, is E in a quadrant? No. What is E actually on? Where is it located? It's on the x-axis. So you would type in x-axis. Make sure you spell it x-axis. X-I-S. I can't even spell x-axis. All right. And then the last one we got is F, which is 3, -2. So that's positive, negative. So we come over here, start at the origin. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 on the X, and then down 2 on the Y. And that is point F right there. Is that in the quadrant? Yes. That's in the positive, negative quadrant. So that is in quadrant 4. And you would just type in a 4 on your answer sheet. Okay. So, for all you regular people, you can stop the video right here. Skills practice paper.
And work on that. Unless you would like to stay on for this, I'm going to talk to the compacted people about how to do this down here. And you're more than welcome to stay on. compacted people, you got to stay on, so don't stop the video, because we're going to talk about how this works, the making the table, because we're getting ready to head into the algebra part. So stay right here and stay with me. Okay. Compacted people and others that stayed on. All right, we're getting ready to head into stuff called linear equations. Okay. So this is going to be linear. Linear means it will make a straight line. Okay, so that means it could be a horizontal line, it can be a vertical line, it can be diagonal. Okay, so we're going to talk more and more about that as the weeks go by. We're getting ready to get more into all that. So just today we just need to know that linear means makes a straight line, and of course you can see the root word of linear is line. So that makes sense, right? So all these that we do should make a line. If it does not make a straight line, if it's curvy or looks like a lightning bolt or anything else, if it makes a V, then you've done something wrong. It is wrong if it does not make a line. Okay? Now, in these tables, you can pick any numbers that you want to. Okay? But since you can see that our x numbers right here basically go from -4 to +4, let's use some of those numbers and it'll make it easier. Okay, so it'll actually fit on that little graph. So over here, I'm just going to go 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1. Okay, so I'm using the x numbers that I see there, just so it'll hopefully stay on the graph. All right. So that means I'm going to put the 4 in for that, okay? And 5 minus 4 equals 1. All right, so we'll make a little table like this. So my x number I used was 4. My equation is 5 minus x. And my y answer I got out was 1. So in just a second, I am going to graph the xy coordinate pair for 1. All right. Next number I'm going to put in there is 3. So that would be 5 minus 3. How much is 5 minus 3? Well, we all know that's 2. So my y number I'm getting out of there is 2. So that means the y is 2. And then the pair I'm going to graph is going to be the xy coordinate pair, 3, 2. Okay. Next number I'm going to put in for x is 2. So that is going to be 5 minus 2, which of course 5 minus 2 is 3. So my y answer that I'm getting out of there is 3. And then I am going to graph 2, 3 in just a second. Alright, then I'm going to put 1 in there. And 5 subtract 1, of course, is 4. So my y answer I'm getting out of there is 4. So y is 4. Then that means I'm going to graph 1, 4. Next x amount I'm going to put in is 0. And 5 minus 0, well, that's tough. That's 5. So my y answer I'm getting out of that equation is 5. And then I'm going to graph 0, 5. You can probably see a pattern emerging here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bet you know what the next one's going to be. Alright, when I put a -1 in there, that makes it 5 minus -1. This is going to check and see if you actually learned how to do subtracting. Alright, so on that, of course, we would do additive inverse, which means keep that, change that to addition, take the opposite of that. So 5 plus 1 is 6. That is my y answer I got out of there. 5 plus 1 is 6. And then I'm going to graph -1, 6. Okay. Remember the x numbers come first in the ordered pair. The y numbers come second. So now I'm going to go up here and graph it. 4, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 4, 0, 5. And -1, 6. And you can see if I hook all these together real pretty like, with my best steady hand here, okay, it would continue to go in either direction. So you want to put a little line with an arrow on the end of it just like that. okay? Because it does continue on. You can now see what the graph of that equation should look like. It is linear. It is making a straight line, okay? So, hopefully you can figure that one out, and you are going to be working on one similar to that right there in number 20 and 1. Alright, make sure you know how to do them lines, them linear lines, which kind of ties back into today's song by the Man in Black. So if you want your extra credit, people, send me the name of the song and the artist that's doing that here song. I hope you understand what's going on here in the coordinate system. Good luck. Test is coming up here real soon, so let me know if you got questions. Reviews will start tomorrow. Until then, arrivederci, and make sure you stay on the straight and narrow. Peace!